Chiefs, outgoing officers for a job well done.
Using technology domestication and reverse engineering of capital goods, making them available in Nigeria.
Presidential directive for immediate remittance of statutory funds to Naseni by relevant ministry and parastatals.
But we think this should be central bank's contribution to ensure that we stimulate consumer spending and increase manufacturing output.
CBN to hasten the release of targeted credit facility to sectors most hit by COVID-19. Plus, National Assembly calls for suspension of 10 billion naira vaccine production fund. Hello and welcome to Network News, reaching you live from Abuja. I'm Ienre John. Dotun Ugiyemi will be reading with me from our Lagos studio. Thank you for joining us. President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed new service chiefs. Major General Leo Irabo is now the Chief of Defense Staff. Major General Ibrahim Atahiru, Chief of Army Staff. Rear Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, Chief of Naval Staff, and Air Vice Marshal Ishaku Oladayo Amao as Chief of the Air Staff. The President congratulates the new service chiefs and urges them to be loyal and dedicated in the discharge of their responsibilities. President Muhammadu Buhari thanks the former service chiefs for what he calls their overwhelming achievements and the efforts at bringing enduring peace to the country, wishing them well in their future endeavors. The spotlight is now on the newly appointed service chiefs who were announced by the presidency this Tuesday afternoon. Defense correspondent Najatu Tijani presents the profiles of the new chiefs.
Major General Lucky Irabo, whose initials spell Leo, is a regular course 34 officer of the Nigerian Defense Academy NTA, who attained the rank of Major General in 2014 and has served as Theatre Commander Operation Laifia Aduli, as well as the Force Commander Multinational Joint Task Force in the Lake Chad Basin area. He hails from Agbo in Delta State. Major General Irabo, who is the immediate Chief of Training and Operations at the Defense Headquarters, replaces General Gabriel Abayomi Oloni Shakin. The new Chief of Army Staff, Major General Atahiru Ibrahim, was born on August 10, 1966 and hails from Kaduna North Local Government Area of Kaduna State. He is a member of Regular Course 35 of the Nigerian Defense Academy. Before his appointment as the Chief of Army Staff, he was the General Officer commanding 82 Division of the Nigerian Army, Enugu. He was also a former Theatre Commander of Operation Laifia Aduli. Major General Atahiru takes over from Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, now retired. The Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, was born on 22nd April 1966 and hails from Nasarawa Local Government Area in Kano State. He enlisted into the Nigerian Navy on the 24th of September 1984 as a member of Regular Course 36 and was commissioned Sub-Lieutenant on 24 September 1988. He is an underwater warfare specialist before his appointment as the Chief of Naval Staff. Rear Admiral Gambo, Director of Procurement at the Defense Space Administration. He takes over from Vice Admiral Ibokete Ikwe Ibaz, now retired. The new Chief of the Air Staff is Air Vice Marshal Isiaka Oladayo Amao. He was born on 14 September 1965 in Enugu and hails from Oshobo Local Government Area of Osun State. He enlisted into the Nigerian Air Force on the 19th of January 1984 as a member of the 35th Regular Course of the Nigerian Defense Academy and was commissioned as Pilot Officer on 20th December 1986. Before his appointment as Chief of the Air Staff, he is a fighter instructor pilot with more than 1,500 jet instructional hours. He has participated in several operations including Operation Laifia Aduli and is a recipient of the Chief of the Air Staff Letter of Commendation for Good Leadership and several other awards, and takes over from Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, now retired.
I'm now being joined by Mr. Femi Additional, Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, to speak more on the new appointment. You're welcome, Mr. Additional.
Thank you. Good evening.
All right. The President in his New Year broadcast promised to re-energize and reorganize the security apparatus. Is this a fulfillment of that promise?
Yes, part of it. I'll say the beginning of it. Because, like it is said, there's nothing as good as an idea whose time has come. I believe it is time for the service chiefs to move on, having served meritoriously and commended by the President. And then appointment of new service chiefs will bring fresh ideas, fresh energy, fresh blood, fresh verve into the insurgency war and the various challenges we have in the areas of security in the country.
All right. Before now, there was actually a serious clamor from different quarters for the change of the security chiefs in order to push back the operations and of the insurgents and bandits terrorizing the nation. Do you think this is coming too late?
No. There is what is called the fullness of time in whatever we do in life. When the fullness of time comes, it comes. If you do it before the fullness of time, it may be premature. If you do it after, it may be too late. There is something like doing it at the right time. I just believe that this has been done at the right time. The President is not mindful of all the calls that had come over the months and years. But then, in a democracy, people will have their say, and the person who has been given the mandate will have his way.
Okay, so you think it's not too late. And of course, listening to the President all the time, he's always been very firm that we have the capacity to decisively deal with terror attacks in the country. What should Nigerians expect from the service chiefs at this time?
Fresh energy, fresh ideas, fresh onslaughts. Particularly in the insurgency war, I think it should end. Nigerians believe it should end. The immediate past Chief of Army Staff was determined. There was a time he went to the northeast and he said he would not return till the war had ended. So he too realized that the war needed to end. Nigerians wanted to end, the military wanted to end, and I believe that new energy, new ideas, fresh verve will see to the end of that war.
All right, new energy, fresh vibe and all of that. So what would be your message to Nigerians at this time? Are we supposed to be calm and relaxed now, knowing that everything is under control?
I believe that things had always been under control. It may have been tough, it may have been difficult, but the military was doing its best.
Okay.
I'll rather say pray for our military. You heard the new American president when he was being inaugurated. He said, may God bless our troops. Let's learn to say that in Nigeria. Pray for our military, give them support instead of a criticism that tends to dispirit them. Let's encourage them and we'll see them perform.
All right, we wish the new service chiefs the very best and hoping that, like you have said, everything would become much more better in the country.
I believe so.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Additional.
Thank you. Welcome.
Now, the All Progressives Congress has appealed for public support for the new service chiefs as they perform their constitutional roles of protecting the country's territorial integrity and tackle emerging security threats. A statement by Senator John Akpan Oduedege, National Secretary, APC Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, says the party is confident that the new service chiefs will consolidate on the achievements of their predecessors in keeping the country safe and peaceful through increased synergy among the armed forces. He also describes recent incidents in the country as counterproductive and dangerous to national security when people put ethnic spins to issues of security. The party wants peaceful coexistence and mutual understanding among Nigerians, irrespective of the part of the country they choose to live and work. Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State has applauded President Muhammadu Buhari for the appointment of new service chiefs, saying his action has shown that he is a responsive leader who listens to the yearnings of the people. He urged the new service chiefs to live up to the high expectations of their new positions. Still talking security, the Benue State Security Council has reacted to the security situation in its neighboring Nasarawa state with an assurance never to compromise efforts to tackle any form of insecurity in Benue. Deputy Governor of Benue State, Benson Abunu, stated this after the Security Council meeting at the Government House, Makurdi. Charles Abba reports.
The security meeting, chaired by the Deputy Governor, Benson Abunu, lasted for about 3 hours. He explained that issues of security discussed during the meeting were not for public consumption, but that the Security Council is worried over the recent security situation around its neighboring Nasarawa state.
We did discuss about that, and we felt that it is something that should be taken seriously. And we as Benue State, we are taking it seriously. And we are trying to see what we can do to ensure that the security of Benue State is not compromised.
The Deputy Governor further said that all security apparatus would be on red alert to nip any upheavals in the board. In Makurdi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has been directed to coordinate the deployment of a national plan of action towards achieving a comprehensive basic education for Nigerian children. The President gave the directive while inaugurating the newly constituted Presidential Steering Committee on Alternative School Program. State House correspondent to Musambo has the details.
The ever-compelling desire to deal with key challenges of absolute poverty and propel our country and citizens to a better way of life and development are at the root of our gathering here today.
This President Muhammadu Buhari said cannot be achieved with a disturbing level of out-of-school children estimated at 13 million, hence the critical need to further address literacy inclusiveness amongst the vulnerable children.
While we continue to sustain our efforts on providing formal and conventional education, it is still a common sight to notice children abandoning formal school to become apprentices in shops, workshops, and markets, whilst many others choose to loiter at markets, become cart pushers, and hawkers. These all are not acceptable.
With this special education initiative, the President directed that emphasis be given to providing a limited scope of subjects in mathematics, English language, basic science, and social studies.
Gradually, the initiative will be scaled up to ensure the acquisition of relevant technical skills in the process that can enable the beneficiaries to participate in gainful economic activities.
The 18-member committee, co-chaired by the Ministers of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, and that of Education, has amongst other terms of reference ensuring engagement and effective uptake of the Alternative School Program initiative across Nigeria, as well as reviewing and approving all work implementation plan, expected deliverables, feedbacks, and reports as proposed.
I implore all members to take this assignment with uttermost seriousness. The future of our young people is at stake.
For the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, the success of the program will be a turning point in the nation's development history as it will accelerate the pace of achieving a prosperous Nigeria.
The implementation strategy is to leverage the Ministry's social protection instruments under the NPower, the conditional cash transfer, and homegrown school feeding programs to provide tailored delivery mechanisms that are specifically targeted at the out-of-school children. Consequently, every child, including those in the most peculiar of circumstances, will have access to learning opportunities. The alternate school program is an innovative and flexible approach to learning and skills development, ensuring that education is designed to specifically address the needs of the target beneficiaries and is delivered conveniently.
The minister is optimistic that the alternative school program would impact positively on Sustainable Development Goals 2, 5, 8, 10 and 17. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Still ahead, United Nations seeks improved funding to build resilience against impact of climate change. Please stay with us.
Are you ready for this? Let me hear you, AJ. Ready for this? Give me some bass. That good for you? Nice, AJ. Just one. Bring it up. Just one. Double it. Just one. Just one.
I was born hungry for success. It's the Nigerian way.
Globe gets it. Champions stay hungry. Oh yeah. Globe gets it big time.
One more for sure.
Champions go the distance and then go further.
Glow, the heart of a champion.
The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Petroleum Industry Bill invite relevant stakeholders in the petroleum industry and the public to a two-day public hearing on Petroleum Industry Bill, PIB, holding on Wednesday and Thursday, 27th and 28th January 2021 at the Conference Room 028, House of Representatives Complex, Abuja. To make virtual presentations and other details, please visit www.hrpib.org.ng. Honorable Muhammad Tahir Mungunu, announcer.
On behalf of my husband, Alhaji Aliyu Abdullahi, Wakiling Office, my son, Alhaji Aminu Idris Yaro, Serking Hausawan Lagos, the entire family and myself, I wish to appreciate His Highness, the Emir of Zazzau, his council members, the entire Zazzau Emirate, and all other guests in attendance for turbaning me as Jagaban Mata Zazzau. The turbaning came as a great honor to me by His Highness, the Emir of Zazzau. This also implies a great trust bestowed on me and expectations for credible and impactful leadership. May Allah reward His Highness's benevolence. May Allah sustain, guide, and protect him. May God bless Zazzau Emirate. May God bless Kaduna State Government. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Announcer Hajia Mariam Ali Abdullahi, Jagaba Mata Zazzau, Zazzau Emirate. The Steering Committee of the MSME Survival Fund and the Guaranteed Offtake Scheme, chaired by the Honorable Minister of State, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Ambassador Miriam Katagum, wishes to inform the public that the MSME Survival Fund Payroll Support Portal will be exceptionally reopened for states that have not met their quota. The portal will be open from 27th January to 2nd February 2021. The payroll support track of the MSME Survival Fund scheme, which was flagged off on the 21st of September 2020, is aimed at supporting vulnerable MSMEs in the payroll obligations of over 500,000 employees for a period of 3 months. To date, the following states have met their quota and are consequently not eligible to participate in the reopening exercise. The states are Benue, Plateau, Bauchi, Kano, Kaduna, and Rivers, and the FCT. For further details, please visit www.survivalfund.gov.ng. Kindly note that registration of this scheme is free. Beware of fraudsters. Signed, Project Delivery Office.
The Honorable Minister of Education, Malam Adamu invites all candidates who had successfully completed the Commonwealth Scholarships and Fellowship Plan CSFP application form via the electronic application systems EAS and fulfilled all necessary requirements stipulated in the 2021 CSFP prospectus to attend nomination interview scheduled as follows: Tuesday, 2nd of February, opening ceremony and accreditation interview for candidates from Southwest, Northwest and Northeast. Wednesday, 3rd February, accreditation and interview for candidates from Southeast, North Central Central and South-South. Thursday, 4th February, collation of result, submission of reports and closing. Venue, Rustbot Hotel, opposite Federal Minister of Justice, Abuja. Time, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. For further inquiries, contact the Director and Secretary, Federal Scholarship Board via fsb@education.gov.ng or call 08034394752, 09082454557. Architect Sonny STA Channel, Permanent Secretary, Federal Minister of Education, announcer.
I bring you wonderful news. The village headmaster is coming back to your screen. Mo wire abi mi o wire.
Teacher yo mo, a fẹ́ lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Teacher yo mo, a fẹ́ lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Ọmọ onírẹsì ti dé.
Ajebo na better school for last gidi. Not be all this on a rugged school for Ijabi. I don't know for you.
Second, it's called Oja Village. Kadesi, we no happy at all.
And I know that even you too, you are getting a lot of orders too. Hey, we are trying, shall sweep her leg out. She was standing there. Sweep it.
I love you so much.
And how did I give you the impression that I was interested in that position?
50-year anniversary.
You mean anniversary?
I talk with that now.
Not for me. You want make I die?
Not for me because of Pamio.
Thank you for staying with us. The Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, as well as the Federal Inland Revenue Service, have been directed to commence immediately remittances of funds approved by law to the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI. President Muhammadu Buhari, who is the chairman of the governing board of NASENI, gave the directive while insisting that agency must be provided adequate financial, human and material resources so that Nigeria can have the benefit of rapid technological development. State House correspondent Ademo Sambo has the details.
NASENI was established in 1992 to facilitate, amongst others, local mass production of standard parts, goods and services required for the nation's technological advancement. Presiding over the meeting of the governing board for the first time since reconstitution in 2018, President Muhammadu Buhari described NASENI as not only critical to Nigeria's industrial development and creation of 10 million jobs, but also the realization of the economic recovery and growth plan, as well as the post-COVID-19 sustainability plan.
It is only deliberate deployment of engineering, science, technology and innovation, using technology domestication and reverse engineering of capital goods, making them available in Nigeria that can fast-track realization of our collective will to build capacity and reduce poverty among our teeming populace. It is my desire that the Governing Council will reposition NASENI for the realization of its mandate as envisioned by its founders.
The COVID-19 pandemic in particular, the president said, exposed the technology and innovation gap between Nigeria and the developed world, which NASENI is strategically positioned and poised to fill.
NASENI must be empowered and be given the autonomy and independence to forge international partnerships to acquire the relevant technologies for socio-economic and industrial advancement of the country. I hereby direct Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning to conclude negotiation and acceptance of 85% funding source for establishment of solar cell production, high voltage testing laboratory and transformer in collaboration with China Great Wall Industry Corporation.
No government has ever attempted to provide this fund over the years.
The executive vice chairman of Naseni, who described the presidential directive as significant in fast-tracking Nigeria's industrial development, also appreciated the president for his commitment to the production of solar cells in Nigeria.
There is no place in Africa that today we are producing solar cells. Naseni has 7.5 megawatt capacity solar panel or solar module manufacturing plant in Karshi. The board has approved that we should use locally available raw material. And this raw material is silica. And silica is from sand. And sand is free of charge. If you can produce cells, then you have capacity to venture into electronic communication, technology and computation equipment.
The governing board meeting, which continued behind closed doors, considered and approved various memoranda, including the collaboration between Naseni and Belgium Manufacturing Company for helicopter production in Nigeria.
There is a marching order to quickly have made in Nigeria helicopter. Technically, we'll be ready in 2 months. But the issue is that even when we design, produce, and fabricated jet engine, as I said, we will not deploy it until it meets all other international regulatory requirements. We are doing all we can, taking into consideration the checklist provided.
Also approved by the board includes National Tractor Refurbishing and Recovery Program, as well as the reconstitution of some critical standing committees. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
It's now time for business news, and Benny Adams is here. Benny, it looks like the figures are unchanged, talking about the NPC meeting which ended today. What does that mean for the economy?
Well, it means goodwill, it means opportunity to grow further and recover sooner than expected.
Okay, so let's have more.
Good evening and welcome to Business News. The Central Bank of Nigeria has, at the end of its Monetary Policy Committee meeting today, resolved to intensify efforts at providing targeted credit facility to sectors hit by the impact of COVID-19 and encouraged government not to consider lockdown of the Nigerian economy with a mandate to regulate price and monetary stability as well as exchange rate stability. The CBN says amid rising inflation, policies targeted towards improving the flow of credit to the real sectors of the economy will be pursued in the new year to quicken recovery. Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele renewed commitment to supporting the export sector with finances at concessionary rate while extending the 5% interest rate on the bank's interventions.
But we think this should be central bank's own contribution to ensure that interest rate, particularly for our interventions, which are targeted to other households, SMEs, agri, health sector, pharmaceuticals, agri and manufacturing, that will stimulate consumer spending and increase manufacturing output, that we need to support it. We will continue to do so.
The NPC retains the benchmark interest rate at 11.5%, while the asymmetric corridor of plus 100 and minus 700 basis points around the monetary policy rate remains. The cash reserve ratio at 27.5% and the liquidity ratio at 30% was also retained. Still talking growth of the economy, the macro, small and medium enterprises survival fund payroll support portal will be reopened for states that have not met their quota in the initial stage of the program tomorrow, the 27th of January 2021. Minister of State, Industry, Trade and Investment, Mariam Katagum, disclosed this in a statement issued by the Project's Delivery Office. The statement noted that Benue, Plateau, Bauchi, Kano, Kaduna, River States, and the FCT have met their quota, therefore not eligible to participate. And to register, businesses must have CAC registration, a minimum of 10 and a maximum of 50 staff. The scheme provides for 45% female participation and 5% special needs participation. Moving on to the capital market, where investors gained 259.45 billion naira by 1.21% as equities closed today on a positive note, recording 41,584.94 basis points as against plus 0.21% appreciation recorded previously. Market breadth closed positive as Reed Briscoe led 32 gainers as against 18 losers, topped by John Holt at the end of today's session. An improved performance when compared with previous outlook. Market turnover closes positive as volume moved up by plus 40.47% as against 43.68% downtick recorded in the previous. Transcorp, Mansard and Sovereigns were the most active to boost market turnover. Airtel Afrique and Zenith Bank topped market value list, while Seplat leads the list of active stocks that recorded impressive volume spike at the end of today's session. That is business news. Ienre, it's over to you.
Thank you, Benny.
Yeah.
Let's now talk education. Taraba State University, Jalingo, has benefited from the federal government's intervention project that got students excited even as academic activities reopen across the country. Adamu Haruna Adams reports.
State University is one of those universities that resume activities in the country in compliance with the federal government directive.
Give a lot of gratitude and thanks to the federal government for providing funds for us through TEFON, ensuring that we had more structures in terms of classrooms and offices. During this time, we have been able to construct 5 major buildings that are housing 5 faculties.
The Vice Chancellor says the university upholds all COVID-19 containment protocols.
The executive governor of this state, in person of Architect Darius Dixon Ishaku, was able to work assiduously with us even during this period of shutdown. And this Senate building massively has been completed and furnished. So also is the university library.
Students express excitement at the reopening of universities.
Corona wanted to clean us, but thank God we are back. I'm so happy, I'm very happy.
Very, very happy. But we are about almost 9 months we are at home.
Adamu Haruna Adams, NTA News.
The Executive Vice Chairman, Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, Professor Umar Dambata, has reiterated the Commission's commitment in closing the gap in the number of Nigerians deprived of enjoying telecommunications services, particularly in rural areas. He said this while receiving Money Report Plus Magazine Man of the Year Award in his office. ICT correspondent Joseph Johnson reports.
Despite reducing the number of Nigerians disenfranchised from having access to communications services by more than 15 million, the NCC boss, Professor Umar Dambata, says more needs to be done towards ensuring total inclusiveness with telecommunications services.
It is still work in progress, and therefore I hope I can be able to stand before at another time, during another occasion, to say, indeed, we have accomplished that important statement of vision by this government, the government of President Muhammad Buhari, and indeed by the global telecommunications regulator, that telecommunication services should be inclusive. And then we will see what actions we can take to right any wrongs, if any, that may have been made to Nigerians, including the possibility of compensating the consumers in the way and manner we have compelled mobile network operators through another audit to compensate consumers for wrongful deductions arising from SMS.
The magazine looks at your character, looked at your vision, looked at your capacity, but more especially the vision that you set in 2015, and came to the conclusion that there's no other person that is more qualified to be named Man of the Year.
Professor Dambata, while appreciating the award, described the recognition as a wake-up call to redouble efforts in discharging his duties. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Now, looking at health, the need for adequate health workers to manage different levels of health facilities and cases across the country is becoming a critical national demand by major stakeholders in the health sector. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that this came to the fore at the 7th Quadrennial Delegates Conference of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives ahead of Friday's election.
It is one of the major events held under the second wave of COVID-19, and as health workers, compliance with COVID-19 safety protocols was non-negotiable. The National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwifery periodically holds elections to entrench new leadership, which has been peaceful and transparent. This time around, the process has been more organized despite the COVID-19 threat.
For trade unions, the delegate conference is one of the most important organs, where we review progress, we also set goals, but importantly, we change also our leadership, or we elect leadership. And I'm sure this is what this conference is out to do.
Stakeholders advocate better condition of service, improved remuneration, regular training and funding of health facilities to discourage migration of workforce and medical tourism.
Nigeria, as at present, 700 million population, we ought to have 800,000 active nurses in place.
The challenging situation we have in the country, the acute shortage of nurses and midwives, the council has now remained in position. I'll put a number of strategies to ensure the gap is closed.
The Quadrennial Delegates Conference is, among other things, to take stock of previous activities of the association and make resolutions that will shape the future of health workers in the country. The session also observed a mini silence in honor of those who lost their lives to COVID-19 in the front line and pledged commitment to more service to the nation and humanity. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Dotun has the next set of reports from our Lagos Network Center. Hello, Dotun.
Thank you, Ienre. Residents of Lagos State have been urged to support government efforts at checking the rising cases of fire in the metropolis by adhering to safety standards by structures that conform with the building code. The call by heads of disaster management agencies in the state follows multiple fire incidents at Alade Market, Shomolu and Umididun area of Lagos Island. Adeni Taiwo reports.
In the last 2 weeks, it has been a tale of 1 week, one trouble, as some markets across Lagos metropolis were gutted by fire. For the second time in 3 months, Alade Market in Shomolu went up in flames around midnight on Tuesday, taking shop owners unaware. The fire has been put out and the smoke is clear. Preliminary report says about 115 shops containing goods worth millions of naira were destroyed in the midnight inferno.
During the NSAS, 3 of our shops got burned. Now, the 2 of our shops got burned again.
On my engine, even I don't even see single one.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Nowhere to go. While many of the shop owners are still reeling in shock and counting their losses, others are busy salvaging what they can from the rains. Officials of disaster management agencies, including NEMA and LASEMA, already visited the market to take records of those affected for possible intervention. They were, however, drawn to the scene of another fire incident at Omididun area of Lagos Island, where 2 buildings, along with a row of shops, were gutted by fire following an alleged surge in public power supply.
I just saw flames. So after the flames, I tried to use water to off the lights. Then it got exploded.
We were able to mobilize fire service, which is just few meters away from this place.
The causes of all this is carelessness and recklessness on the part of our people. It will be recalled that a part of Ijesha Market was destroyed by fire 2 weeks ago. In Lagos, Adini Taiwo, NTA News.
Substandard tires and liquefied petroleum gas cylinders worth about 300 million naira have been destroyed by a standard regulatory body in Lagos. Ienre Otukede, who witnessed the destruction of the items, reports that the move is part of efforts by the federal government to avert disaster and protect and promote standards in the country. The report.
Tires and cooking gas cylinders are two different products used for various household and commercial purposes. Improper handling of these products have over the years been linked with fire outbreak and road crashes, sometimes leading to loss of lives and property. This is why the enforcement unit of the Standards Organization of Nigeria, after a tip-off, embarked on seizure and confiscation of gas cylinders and 6 containers containing about 5,000 substandard tires in each. Director General of the organization said that the products, which were imported by different businessmen, failed the agency's mandatory tests.
These tires were compromised because about 5 other new tires were stuffed in it just to save money for a container. If you use the tires, they will most likely explode in the middle of use.
The standard requires that the cylinder, a good cylinder, must expand a minimum of 20% of the original volume of the cylinder when you pressurize it. In this case, they did not expand to that level.
The organization deployed a shredding equipment to destroy the tires without causing harm to the environment.
The environment was not degraded in any aspect.
These people do not pay the normal tax they ought to pay to the Nigerian government. It is not good for our economy.
They want those selling fake products to desist from the act, as government will not relent in ensuring the safety of consumers in the country. In Lagos, Ienre Otukede, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Network News continues after the break.
Moped. No leakage, no leakage, no leakage. We need a big change in our lives. Moped Ultra Soft is super absorbent and offers up to 100% leak protection. Your skin will love it.
This is the Wilson family last week. This is the Wilson family this week. What's changed? What? The Wilson family got maximum entertainment for less, and now they're closer than ever. Your family can be too.
How does this work?
With world-class international channels that put the quality back in your quality time.
That's what I'm talking about.
GoTV Max will bring you and your family closer in no time. So upgrade to GoTV Max for only 2,999 naira today. Make you enjoy. GoTV. Love it.
League, Sheffield United travel to the Etihad Stadium to take on second-place Manchester City. Will they get a reality check, or can they pull off the upset? Find out as Manchester City welcomes Sheffield United on the Premier League Live, showing this Saturday on the NTA network from 3:30 p.m. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Babai Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up, in association with Gold.com.
Welcome back. The National Assembly Joint Committee on Health has resolved that the Ministry of Health suspends the spending of the 10 billion naira released to it for vaccine production until it receives detailed breakdown of how the funds will be spent. The committee arrived at the resolution during a meeting with the ministers and top management of the Ministry of Health. Ignatius Unko reports.
It was the continuation of the parliamentary engagement on the 10 billion naira the Minister of Finance released to the Ministry of Health for vaccine production. The meeting was for the Minister of Health to explain to the Joint Committee in specific terms where the 10 billion naira will be channeled.
For local manufacturing of vaccines, biovaccine. And it is in connection with the COVID-19 intervention program.
A private sector was engaged, that's Bay and Baker. A joint venture vehicles was incorporated with the name Biovaccine Nigeria Limited. And the equity was that the plants in Yaba, owned by the federal government, through the Department of Food and Drugs, should form part of the federal government equity to Bay and Baker. And Bay and Baker will now bring technical capacity and technical know-how.
But unfortunately, the parliamentary committee needed more facts, especially on the memorandum of understanding between Nigeria and May and Baker on Nigeria's vaccine production program.
Our decision for now, which I will come out to move, is that we can't spend it. We'll put it, we'll write it, until when you provide us with a satisfactory answer.
The Minister of Health suspends the further use of any money already released according to the 10 billion release according to the budget of 2020.
Meanwhile, the National Assembly Joint Committee on the Independent National Electoral Commission has received the report of its technical committee on the repeal of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill.
In the 8th Senate, if we had the benefit of the cooperation of Ienre at the outset, like we're having right now, and also the cooperation of the Office of the AGF at the outset, like we're having right now, I'm sure we would have cleared this long ago.
My hope is that by the time you resume on the 9th, there will be a clean copy of the bill tabled before the House and the Senate.
The technical committee held a 3-day retreat during which it considered the various memoranda received during the public hearing. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Global leaders at the 2021 United Nations Climate Adaptation Summit want urgent scaling up of funding for programs to build resilience and offer lasting solutions against the impact of major events such as droughts, floods, and rising sea levels. Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, says developing countries need an estimated $70 billion to build their adaptation plans, a figure that could reach up to $30 billion in 2030. Onengiye Fineface has details.
Climate disasters, disturbed weather patterns, higher temperatures and sea levels pose challenges to the global community. The Climate Adaptation Summit is a virtual meeting of world leaders to articulate how societies can adapt systems to safeguard the planet and ensure sustainable prosperity.
But recovery cannot be only for the developed worlds. We must expand the provision of liquidity and debt relief instruments to developing and middle-income countries, the lack of resources to relaunch their economies, that lack the resources to relaunch their economies in a sustainable and inclusive way.
Climate financing for African and other developing countries was central to conversations at the summit.
The African Development Bank is at the forefront of climate finance for Africa. The bank has quadrupled its finance for climate to reach $25 billion by 2025. We have increased the percentage of our climate financing devoted to climate adaptation from 26% in 2016 to 55% by 2019.
The summit launched a 10-year global action program, 1,000 Cities Adapt Now, codenamed 1,000 CAN, to accelerate climate adaptation in 1,000 cities worldwide.
The world has a golden opportunity to recover from our health and economic crisis by accelerating adaptation, and we must seize it. You have, I think all of us, global leaders, have a political and moral responsibility to save humanity and our planet.
1,000 Cities Adapt Now will prioritize resilience in poor communities and water-resilient cities. Onenkiye Fine Face, NTA News.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, has sympathized with victims of the recent Sokoto Central Market fire incident, which destroyed shops worth billions of naira. A statement by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Bashir Noura Alkali, the minister is saddened by the news because of the huge losses, especially in these hard times when people are trying to make ends meet. While commending all the federal and state fire authorities, traders and concerned citizens that assisted in putting out the fire, the minister directed the National Emergency Management Agency to work with its state counterpart to assess the situation and report back within 2 weeks for the provision of necessary humanitarian assistance. Another time for a break. Please stay with us. That's Network News tonight. Many thanks for watching. And here's a quick reminder. If we work together, we can kick rape out of our society. I'm Ienre. Have a good night.